let me share my screen, do a little intro of Mark in terms of results and statistics from the program specifically, just so that you guys have a reason to listen to him. And then we'll dive right into the intro and background, and going to try to share as many gems as possible here. So without further ado, Mark started with the system, well, a bit over 60 days now. And Mark was able to sign up 8 recruits, which 4 turned into licenses already with Agency Builder Accelerator. And that's from starting a fresh new insurance agency. So Mark has been in the game for quite some time, but as he will explain, he took a couple years off and got back a couple years, right?
About 30.
Exactly. And then got back at it this year through the system. So 8 recruits in 60 days. He spent about $1,200 in advertising, so just in Facebook ads. Got 600 leads, so right on our KPI of about $2 a lead. So 8 recruits, but a bunch of other leads as well in the pipeline. So growing his pipeline steadily, and he's on track to keeping it at 5 recruits a month. Now working on a bunch of other stuff and a lot more appointments to go. So that sounds quite right, Mark.
Yeah, except for it's January the 18th, and I've been out of insurance for about 20 years.
Yes,
Not,
20 years. Exactly.
Yeah, so I've been
That's the
licensed.
secret. That's the
Listen,
secret.
I've been licensed for 37 years. I was licensed back in July the 17th, 1987. Okay. And so I don't, I'm still only 37 years old myself, but still, I don't, anyway.
Well, you look 37, Mark. But yeah, let's dive right into it. Introduce yourself, Mark. Introduce yourself, because you have a pretty interesting background. Where did you get started? Where are you located from? What's your IMO? And yeah, let's start with this.
All right, well, I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Okay, so and I've been here for a long time. What moved me here was years and years ago. I actually moved here as a VP for United Healthcare. So that's my background a little bit. I started when I was like 22, 23 years old in insurance. Like I said, back in 1987, things were way different way back when. I started with American General. So some of you guys may recognize that name, but I found out very, very quickly that I gravitated to the health insurance side when I was building my agency, and I'll tell you why I did that. It was different than it is today. Okay, because and this will give you a little bit of a background in history. And if I talk too much, Joey, because we didn't pre-plan this, okay, you just raise your hand and I'll be quiet because I can talk. So, but when I first started, is I went out and I sold a group health policy to a little group in League City, Texas, and there was like 23 employees, and the total premium was right at $3,000 a month for 23 employees. Okay, so that put that in perspective. So health insurance was probably like what $50 an employee back then. Okay, that's how cheap it was. But what was way cool about it is I got 10% back then, 10% residual commission off of that. And so here I am, like 23 years old, and I go out and I write this little policy, and I'm getting $300 a month. And for me back then, that was like absolutely huge. I'm like, are you kidding me? $300 a month? What if I get 10 of these, or 20 or 30 or 40? So, that's what I started moving away from the life insurance side, except I really was doing the health because I wanted residual income. So I built that business for about 10 years out of the yellow pages. Some of you guys don't know what the yellow pages are here, okay? but it's paper that Southwestern Bell, and in Houston it was really, really thick. And so what I did is my system is every day I just go into the office and I'd say, you know what, I think I'll call A's today. And I would just start, calling the A's. And I'd say, I think I'll do B's today. I feel funny today. Let's call F's. Okay. And I would just call businesses, and I would get X dates, okay, expiration dates. And then I would just line it up. And before no time, I was making $100,000 a year as running my own agency. And but I was kind of getting overwhelmed with it. I decided to sell my agency, and I went to work with United Healthcare, and I was a sales rep for them, and then eventually became a VP for sales and marketing. That's how I ended up in San Antonio. So that was a long, long, long time ago. So it was probably, I ended that career right around 40 years old, 39, I think. I'm getting ready to turn 60 in April. So that's how long I've been out of insurance. Okay. And I swore that I would never get back in insurance. I said no. It was hard. It was hard to build an agency. And then fast forward, this is when I met Joey and Pavel, and I started working with them, on a part-time basis, actually helping them to promote their product because I got along really well with insurance agents, and I thought this was going to be a good gig for me. But what I saw real quickly is now I'm helping you guys make more money than I was making, and I'm like, this sucks. And I'm like, so I told my wife, I got to get back into insurance. So I've grandfathered because I never let my insurance lapse. So I've had it for 37 years, 38 years in July this year. That's a long time. Most of you guys aren't even 38 years old that are on this, okay? And it's so much easier today. And the reason I didn't want to get back in is I didn't want to go through what I went through picking up the yellow pages, and I did not know how to use social media to try to make it work. Now I never leave my house. I'm 100% remote. And honestly, I've got more leads than I can deal with coming in from your all system right now. In fact, my daughter just joined us, and one of the things I'm going to do with her, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, is I'm going to have her to help me start contacting these folks because I don't have enough time in the day to deal with the number of leads that are coming in my system.
That's solid. That's very good. I think you did a great job just describing where you're. And I think that's key, right? Because you were how long? 20 something years not
Yeah,
doing
like something
insurance,
like
right?
that.
So it must have changed. It must have changed a lot, like just the way things work and the way now the way business is done today. So you're saying that when you obviously you had your time with us where you were helping people getting into the program, and then you were like, okay, now this is something I want to get back into. You still got your license. You're like, all right, let me build my own business and let me go at it using our system. So that was the only motivation that got you into getting back at it, or is there something else?
Well, no, I mean, in money,
Yeah, for sure.
because, at 60 years old, my wife and I both went through divorces. And so we lost everything. And so, and I've actually heard people sometimes even inside some of the trainings, like, oh, we don't want old people. Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me, you do want old people like me. Okay. And the reason why is because there's, and I use these statistics even on calls that I'm doing all the time. Women over 50 years old, 57% of women over 50 have zero in the retirement income. Okay.
Mm.
Men, there's 51% of men over 50 that have zero in the retirement income. So, I actually, my new recruits, the eight, actually, I've got seven of you guys, and I've got like 3 months. So I'm at 10, okay, in less than, in less than 2 months, okay.
Crazy.
And so that's where I'm at today. But the average age for me right now, and I don't mind getting younger people too, if somebody hears this, but it's probably closer to my age, anywhere from 57 to 63. But I really like working with these folks. Sometimes they have money that we can roll over into an annuity. Certainly the life insurance premiums are a little higher, okay? But they have a real need and a desire, and their dreams have kind of escaped them, okay? Because they're short on their retirement. And if you focus on that with some of the older folks like that, it's like, well, what do you have, for retirement right now? What's plan A? What's plan B? And most of them don't have a plan A or a plan B. So it's an easy conversation to get into with folks that are my age.
100%. No, that's good. That's good. I want to dive into more into the initial challenge because I know it's a mindset shift that you got to do to go ahead and work a system like ours, right? Which is mainly to attract the whole nation, right? If you're licensed across the states or across Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the if you had any hesitations or I don't know any difficulties or challenges moving from warm market or to go into a colder market or just in your way, like what got you to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm not gonna go into my warm market or network, or I would do it, but I want to explore the cold market because that's what it is. What was that decision and what was the initial challenges for that?
It probably goes back into age a little bit again. I have to kind of go there because I think, when you talk to people more my age and they're going, oh, first of all, we don't have a lot of aunts and uncles that are still living.
Yeah.
And so you don't go in and you can't work that warm market, or at this point in time, you've probably worked them over, several other opportunities and they're like, oh God, it's Mark again. And so you don't want to go through that. And so it's like, you want to be able to go into the cold market and turn it warm. And that is what I looked at real quickly. Now, after I've got started, and now I'm kind of going back in, and I am going into some of my warm market people And then I think what I'm going to do even more so is now that I can really build the income up, is I'll go back into warm markets. So I'm kind of doing it reverse. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I can actually say, hey, look, in 6 months, I changed my retirement from this to this, and I can go back in. And then people that I went to college or high school with, even those people now, they go, oh my God, I'm in the same spot Mark was at, and listen to what he's done in 6 months or 12 months or whatever it takes me. And then now you've got more credibility. So,
Mhm.
I think that you should 100% with your folks work the warm market first, okay, when they first come in. But at the same time, you need to be helping them get leads. You need to help yourself get leads. That's the killer. That's what knocks people out of this business. It's why it's such a high attrition rate. Is my upline will tell me, Mark, with younger people coming in, try to work within 3 to 6 months on their warm leads before you actually bring them into a system like you've got, because most of them, quite frankly, can't afford it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but when they get to that place, that's when you make the transition. But you need to help them in their training during that period as well. But for me, I just didn't have as maybe as a good warm market. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? If I'm going to do this, I've got to create a warm market. So that's where
Yeah.
you guys came in.
That's good, and I love to see that. And it's a common trend that I see. Even you got a chance to meet my dad at our event last year, right?
Hmm.
And he got into it. I think he got 15 years in the military in Canada. He worked for 5 years at the government in Canada, and then this year he changed completely, got his license under Sylvain with WFG, and without going after his warm market himself as well, he's got 4 licenses already as well within 3 to 4 months, right? And that's such a reverse thinking than most of the big people in those big companies, WFG, Symmetry, PHP, Primerica. It's a different mindset, right? It's a different age. So do you feel, because I know you're upline as well, do you feel like there's a clash between what the uplines are saying to their downlines in terms of using the cold market? Do you think that there's a clash and people have to go their way to try it out, or do you think it's people are actually encouraging that at the top, if that question makes sense?
Yeah, well, I've had this conversation with my upline.
Yeah.
In fact, I did things differently this way too. Okay, because I decided where I was going to go. And let me just kind of set it straight for anybody who's watching and they're not WFG.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. Okay,
Yeah.
WFG, PHP, FES. Yeah, you just need a system like this to work. And I actually
Yeah.
have that conversation with people on the phone when they call, like, what company you with? I'm like, it's your company, for God's sakes, what you're going to do is have access to like 75 or more different, major carriers that we can help with investments, but it's your company. It's not my company. And I'm going to train you how to do this. So don't let that even be an element in there. But one of the things that when I came in and my upline, I chose him. He didn't choose me because I already knew when I came in reversing on this. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm using this Fondaco system. Now I got
Yeah.
to go find an IMO.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, which one? Does it
Mhm.
matter? I don't think it matters. I'm like, I just need to pick one. And
Exactly.
so I chose, okay, but I actually started interviewing, you know, different leaders in that organization, and I chose a guy, and I ended up choosing the guy here in San Antonio where I'm at. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But I chose him because he's been in the business for 12 years. He's a CEO and he's actually making $1.5 million a year
Hmm.
in the industry. In fact, his upline that recruited him makes residual income of over $600,000 a year, but he has a system on that side. But here's the conversation that we've had. He says, Mark, with what you're doing right now, we've never had anybody come in and be aggressive like this on the front end. And he goes, he over 12 years has recruited right at 65 personal recruits over 12 years. Okay. Let's put this in perspective. I'm at 5 a month right now. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'm going to probably, and I'm going to eclipse him in less than probably 13 months. I'm going to beat his record that he took him, 12 years to do. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's excited about me being in this system, and he's looked at what I've done, and he's made comments that's like, you know what, Mark, if I could have trained, these people that I've lost, all the people that I've lost to do what you're doing, he said, I probably would have that much of a bigger team today and I would be making more income. because the thing that he struggled with over the last 12 years was really helping people to recruit. But he is also in a mindset that is recruit, 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 because that's what he did and how he built his business. Okay. And I was on a training call with some of the top, the other day, and one of the other guys was saying, look, if you guys would focus on recruiting, you'll make it in this business. And that's what he said. Ray did it, I did it, and both of these guys are making 7 figures a year. You've got to focus on the recruiting. You'll move faster. You might not, if right off the bat, let me just be really blunt and honest right here. If I focus on just trying to sell policies right now, I probably would have made some more money over the last 30, 60 days. But in the long run, okay, is you're going to do a whole lot better if you really spend some, if you really focus in on the recruiting. Okay. And you'll get the money. The money will come. So like I had a guy today, it's getting ready to join today. And he didn't tell me this on the call the other day, but he this morning he called and the reason he didn't join yesterday, he spilled coffee all over his computer, and that's usually like, oh yeah, right, sure he did, but no, he did. But he was telling me, he goes, Mark, after you started telling me about the way the index annuities work, I talked to my wife and like, she's got $600,000 that needs to be rolled over right now, and I'm like, bingo. And so you don't know what you're going to get. So he was telling me that this last year they lost $30,000 in their 401k, and she can pull it now. And he goes, we've been losing steadily for the last couple of years in that fund. And he said, after we sat down and we talked to you and you told us we would never lose another penny again using that type of a product, I told her about it. She goes, oh my God, you need to get in. And so he's coming on board, because of even the products, that we have that are going to be able to help him. So I may have way detracted right now, but that's just what's going through my mind right now, because that phone call came in and I was like, boom.
No, that's good, because like that's the thing as well that we always say to our client, because a lot of our clients, they come in and want to say, all right, I want to do recruiting and insurance, right? But like the thing is, if you focus on recruiting, right, you don't like it's a lot easier after to convert them into something like that. You never know what you're gonna get, right?
Right.
Especially the older folks, which are the one that you're going after as well. So that's cool. But yeah, I want to pivot now into something more relatable to people that are here, in terms of people that's just started maybe a couple weeks ago, and I see some people that's been here for 6 months, 12 months now, even more. So I think one of the main questions that I want to ask is, in those 8 weeks, right? What milestones did you hit or set for yourself and then hit in those 8 weeks, which made a breakthrough for you? All right, this is the confirmation that I needed, that it worked for me, because we got the testimonials, we got the case studies, we got this, we got Sylvain, we got the others, but like you don't really believe it until it happens, until you get your first recruit, right? Then another one, and then another one. So in your shoes, what was that milestone that, all right, I got that breakthrough, now let's just go at it? What was those milestones?
And I know I've shared with you guys a calculator that I did for really the KPI myself.
Yeah.
And I know, because I've been in sales forever. Okay, it's just numbers. That's all it is. Okay, and you just have to follow the numbers. And so when it starts coming in and I start having the conversations, then you just start tracking. The way that I set the system, and I wish that every single lead that came in from you guys, Joey, automatically booked to the calendar. Okay, it doesn't. It would be great. That's great when they do come in that way. So, you've got to be more aggressive, and you've got to pick the phone and have a conversation. So the way that I work the system with that is I always want no more than a 5 to 10 minute conversation on the front end. That's my number one. And I'm like, hey, let me just tell you a little bit about it. And I'll even, if you guys want me to, I'll share with you kind of that conversation and how I deal with that. But
yeah.
But then and then what I do though is I look at, and once I get them to that 45-minute call, I can really show them what I'm doing, show them what they would be doing, and really dig into their dreams and their wants and things of that nature and why they would do this. Then I know that I have about a 25% close ratio when I get them to that call. So that's the key, is to get them to that call. You got to go through numbers. You know, and so to me, it's the breakthrough is just to see that I get them to that call, and then I'm having that kind of a success, and I feel like I'm getting a high quality of folks that are on there too. Okay,
Mm,
so I don't know if I answered your question the way that I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Probably the biggest challenge starting off fresh, and I
yeah,
know Sylvain has talked about this on some of the sales calls as well, is you've got to get them up and licensed. Okay,
yeah.
and you know and it seems like even in the States, you know, it does take a little longer than I wish. I mean, we can actually get them. We have a licensing coordinator that is, so the minute that I get them signed on, I transfer them over. I text our licensing coordinator and I'll say, hey, you know, her name's Trish. Trish, Joey just joined. Say hi. Get on a phone call with her tomorrow. Get him on a phone call tomorrow and get him set up with the state, and so he gets his license. And she
Mm,
does. They set up a Zoom. Boom, boom, boom. But you know, these folks will schedule out their tests within about 2 weeks. Unfortunately, most of them seem like they fell at the first time.
mm-hmm,
And then it takes another 2 weeks. And so it's just a little slow getting them going. Okay.
mm,
I've only had, you know, two that have actually passed the first time. I've had now like three that have failed and we're still, you know, waiting on. So, you know, so I've got you're all right. I have four that are totally licensed. One came in licensed. I've got three licensed. I've had two that are outstanding right now that have failed and one that's got scheduled. So,
mm.
by the and then the guy that's getting ready to come on, he's going to be licensed too. So by the end of this month, I'll have hopefully 9 licensed.
Mm.
Okay, so my numbers are at 4. We'll go
That's
to
awesome.
9 by the end of this month, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good, man. That's crazy. Good job. Congratulations on that as well, because that's not everyone that does it 100%. So that's only up to you. So that's good. And now just to recap what your answer there, you're saying that the in terms of the milestones that you got, those breakthrough moments was really when it's your unique approach that you would say, or just your aggressive approach to those leads on the phone, right?
Yeah.
That you have for them.
Yeah, if you really want to build it, if you want to go fast,
Yeah,
you can't just sit and wait on the system to just do it for you.
yeah.
Okay? If you do, you'll be okay because you'll bring on your 1, 2, 3 maybe a month. But if you want to get 5 or 6 a month, pick up the darn phone. Okay? And just make a phone call. And that's where but when you start getting on 10 people, you guys understand this because most of you have been at it a lot longer than I have, and now you're trying to help them though and teach them, is your calendar starts filling up. And so I'm in this place right now. I'm like, shoot, I don't know that I can take more than 5 or 6 a month new ones because I don't know that I have the capacity to do it. And so that's why what I'm doing is I'm wanting to, as someone comes on, like my daughter, is my here's my deal with her. Look, I'm going to teach you how to make these phone calls to these folks, and I'll even tell you my script. It's real simple. And if you get them to show up and they get on that call and I close them, is I'll share them with you. You get one, I get one. You get one, I get one. And here's
Mm-hmm.
all I want her to do on your list because I just want her to just get on and say, hey, look, you know, you guys answered an ad. I know you're looking for some remote work. We've had such a huge response. What we've decided to do is we're doing now some group live calls, and we've got one on Tuesday and we've got one on Thursday. Are you still interested in working remote? Yes. No. Okay. Great. Then I'm going to send you, you know, let's get you in there. We have a limited number of seats that you can go in there. You know, you want to be on Tuesday or Thursday. That's all I really want her doing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do that. Right. And then when they come to that call is now I'll go in and I'll present. And if she tags her number, her name that she identified that person in there, what we'll do is I'll just split boom, 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 boom. And so there's a way you can use your system and have other people help. And you know, I've talked to my upline about this too because he's way busy. He goes, Mark, I don't have time for the system. I'm like, dude, but you're trying to take people to SMD in these different levels. What if you bought the system and you shared it because they can't afford it, and you start helping them to get to that level? It's going to help you out a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know if you've got income, okay, and you can afford that, for gosh sakes, you know, you want to help your team. And so it's really that simple. And that's what we're getting ready to test that. And I'll have two days a week that she's just going to tell them, and they start asking questions like, well, what's it about? And like, it's in the finance industry. You should have been able to see it. I think we sent a video, but you know, it's going to be Tuesday or Thursday. Which one works best?
Hmm. Well, that's
I mean,
good.
I don't want her
That's good.
explaining anything, nothing. Okay, let me do that.
Exactly. And on that subject, I might even have if we have time at the end of this call. We've been working on something pretty insane recently. I'm not sure if Pavel talked to you about that,
Mm-mm.
but it's you were talking about if we can get more people to actually go ahead and book appointments, right, and prevent you from
Mhm.
calling and stuff like that. So we've been working on an AI appointment setter, right, and it's
Okay.
pretty darn interesting. I have a recording. It's 99% ready. This is a project that should be deployed by Q3, Q2, sorry. We're Q1 right now, Q2. I'll share with you a recording after. So that will be amazing. If we can get to a point where like at 15%, like 15%, 15 to 20% of all leads, like to the T could go ahead and convert as an appointment. And this can just not happen through SMS, email, and just the VSL itself. There has to be some sort of voice to it. Now, how can we automate that? Well, our good friend artificial intelligence can. So I'll share a recording of that. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool. But before that, in terms of so your approach to the lead, what's your approach to those leads? Because you're working with the same leads that everyone else is working with, right? So I imagine
Right.
are you running Uber and Lyft ads or other
That's what
audiences?
they, and they just turned on some teacher ads for me this week too, and
Yeah.
I'm getting some leads from that. But um, yeah,
What do you feel
I
about
use,
those?
it doesn't matter where they come. It's the same conversation.
Thank
Okay.
you.
It's,
That's what I
yeah,
was
it's the
trying to
same.
say
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I don't really care. So, I mean, when I do is I pick up the phone. I'm like, hey, so I see Sarah, I see your face in there. So, hey, Sarah, I see that you were looking for some remote work. Is that still the case?
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, okay, awesome. And so I'll say, did you have a chance to watch the video? Honestly, most of them don't.
Yeah.
And she
Exactly.
goes, not a problem, not a problem. Okay, let me just, I want to ask you a few questions about yourself first, and then I can maybe share with you a little bit about, the opportunity and what it would be. And
Mm.
I, so tell me what you're doing, not like, are you driving right now? Tell me, work wise, what are you doing? Because sometimes if you say, what are you doing? They go, well, I'm eating a burger. And
Yeah.
so, some people are so literal. So it's like, and I'm like, no, I want you to tell me what you do work wise right now. You're doing full time, part time. How much would it take you to actually replace it? Are you trying to replace it? You trying to supplement it? Or if they're retired, I'm like, oh, okay. So why in the heck would you do this if you're retired? I mean, for goodness sakes, that doesn't make any sense. Why? Oh, you don't have enough for retirement. How much do you need for retirement? What are you getting in now? And you just start finding out what their needs are. I'm like, okay, cool. All right, I got you. I said, and I always take it this way because insurance, quite frankly, folks, is not sexy. Okay. And you tell somebody, oh, you want to be an insurance agent? They go, oh, hell no. All right. And so you don't go in that direction. You don't talk about your company. Okay. What I always do is I make this real simple. I'm like, have you ever thought about being in, I don't know, real estate or insurance, anything like that? And most of the time they'll say, "Oh, I've thought about being a real estate agent." Okay. And the reason why they say that is because there's HGTV and that's been glamorized, okay, by the media, right? So, and I'm like, well, let's talk about real estate for just a minute. So, what attracted you to get, to look at real estate? Because this almost happens on every single conversation, and people will say, well, I just, you can make a lot of money. I'm like, well, yeah, but it goes up and down, up and down. Let's talk about it for just a minute about how the real estate industry works, because quite frankly, finance has evolved pretty much the same that real estate has. And because I've been doing this a long time, for God's sakes, I've been doing it for 37 years. I started back in July the 17th, 1987. But here's how real estate works, Joey. And so just play along with me. We'll kind of role play a little bit with
Yeah.
this. I'm like, so what an agent does? They have to go get a license with the state, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you have to go get, it's regulated by the state. So you go get a license by the state. You have to take some continuing education credits. And then you go and your personal production, you sell a house. And you know what the commissions is for when you go out and you sell a house?
Not really. What
Okay.
is it?
Well, in the States, it's, there's a total of 6%, but, as an agent, you're having to at least split, usually you get maybe 3%, but there's also always a broker involved, okay, as an
Yeah.
agent. So what is a broker? Okay. And so, a broker actually lets agents work underneath their umbrella. Okay. So that what it means is a broker, they get overrides over their agents. So let's fully understand this. You know, for most people that get into real estate, they become an agent and then they work off their personal production. And eventually they start realizing, oh crap, you know, if I could become a broker, I could make more money because now I could have agents that work underneath me. Because here's the way it works. You get into real estate, you have to normally be in that industry for 3 years before you can even apply for your broker license. Did you know that? Oh, yeah. Okay. And then, okay, if you look out your window and you see your neighbor selling a house and you see a Century 21 sign on it, that is a broker that bought a franchise. Okay. So let's understand that. So Century 21 is a franchise. They had to pay to get that franchise somewhere between $200,000 to $300,000 minimum to buy that franchise. Okay. So now you've got a broker that spent $300,000 to have a franchise to get agents that work underneath him. Let me ask you, Joey, would you rather be the broker or the agent?
Broker.
Why?
Make more money, no?
Oh, you would like to make more money. So okay. Listen, this is what insurance has done. I told you it's evolved and it's very similar. Years ago when I started in this industry, that's not the way it was. Okay. And there's this guy came in and his name was A.L. Williams, Coach Williams. Some of you may have heard of him. You know, and he actually started this, he sold his company over and now they're Primerica. Okay. Everybody's heard of Primerica. And they kind of started all this craziness. I hated them back then because I was the old line insurance agent. And I'm like, what are they doing? And it took me years to figure out what they were doing is they were allowing folks to come in and build an agency and immediately become a broker. Now, what's happened in insurance as it's evolved is unfortunately, or fortunately, one way how you want to look at it is most of the guys that go out and help educate families today are my age. Okay, they're old. And and we're dying off, okay? And so we need to replenish and replace that. And there's a huge deficit right now in this industry for folks that are helping families with education. All right. But here's the cool part is you can come into this industry today and you can immediately, you don't have to wait 3 years like you would in real estate. You can immediately start building an agency. So Joe, you said you wanted to be a broker. If you got into insurance, you don't have to wait 3 years. You don't have to go buy a franchise for $200,000 or $300,000. We can start building an agency for you today. Okay, so you would rather be a broker?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's how it works, and that's what I teach. And so, being in insurance and finance is the vehicle that we use. The key is though is we build teams together, and I'm going to teach you how to do that too. Would you like to learn how to build an agency and have even residual income coming in for retirement or to supplement your income?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Cool.
So Joey, if that's what you want, here's the deal. Okay. Is I don't have any more time right now. Yeah, but I will schedule a 45-minute meeting with you. And you got to be inside, you got to be in front of your computer in a quiet place. And if you'll do that, I'll go ahead right now and we'll book a time for you and I'll spend some one-on-one time with you and I'll share with you exactly what you'd be doing, exactly how I train. And you'll know whether or not this is a fit or not. You'll be able to make that decision even on that call. Does that sound like a plan?
Of course.
All right. So is Thursday or Friday better?
I just want to note down because you did something very important there, and you did not only book the appointment, but you give them a damn good reason to show up to the appointment, right? And that's something that a lot of people get wrong is that they book the appointment and like, oh, do you want to go? Like they don't give any information, right? Remote work, yes, perfect. When are you available? Wednesday, 3 p.m. Perfect. And then they just hope cross finger that person's gonna go up. If you speak to that person for 1 minute or 2 minutes, right? And you don't give and you're not sure that person is hooked, your show rate will be extremely low. And your show rate 100%, well, close. The majority depends on the quality of that call that you had with them. So the way Mark just sold me on the opportunity, like I'm already sold. He could have already technically go ahead and tell me the price and I could have made a decision right on the spot. But now we're teasing and just bringing it on a more official Zoom face-to-face conversation. So like there's some little details that I hope that you caught there because this is true gold. So yes, 100%. That's the way it is. Yeah.
Well, the thing is I tell them if they say, "Can you tell me more?" Now I'm like, you know what? That's not how the system works. I mean, if you
Yeah.
and I teach a system. If you're
Yeah.
going to be in this business with me, you're going to follow a system. And somebody will say, well, send me more information. I'm like, yeah, that's outside of the system. So this might not be a good fit.
Yeah.
You've got to follow the system. You want to have success in this business, you're going to have to follow. Okay.
Mm.
It's about positioning yourself. Now, there are times I'm like, look, I don't have another appointment right now. If you've got the next 45 minutes, then we can do it now. I have done that on occasion. But for the most part, I make them wait. And if they do miss the call, I'll say, look, what happened?
Mm.
Did you go find another, something better than what we were talking about? Did you lose the dream? What happened? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
why did you not show up for this call? I mean,
Mm.
I thought this was important to you.
No, exactly. And one thing that I want to touch on there as well is you might know that as well, since you were in with Paul Gordon, right? There's three beliefs you gotta sell a prospect before they can go ahead and buy from you. Number one is their problem. Number two is their solution, and the right solution to their problem, right? And number three is yourself. So the problem, it's already done by the marketing up front, by the ad. Like the ad tells them the problem, okay, they acknowledge it, they want to find a solution for it. Now, on your call, right, or if an appointment books automatically, that's what the video does for them. Your goal is to sell them that your solution is the perfect solution to solve their problem. So your goal is to basically eliminate all other opportunities out there to make money online and to build a business, which is exactly what Mark was doing with comparing to real estate, right? Now, the way he was explaining it is like you know this, you know that, but with what you want to do, you want to make money, you want to build a business, you want to build an agency, you want to work from home, you want to do it quick, not wait 3 years. Well, financial services is the best opportunity for you, right? So that now when you're on the call, when you're on that final call, you don't have to go ahead and sell them on two beliefs. It's really hard to sell someone two beliefs at the same time in the same day. So now all you got to have to do is just sell them on you, right? Why am I the right person to sell you that solution? Which these are super key to get people in, because a lot of people, they just treat it like a hiring process. Like, hey, tell me about you and I'll see if I hire you. But you actually have to sell. You actually have to sell the opportunity. Even if you're not selling a policy or anything like that, you need to sell them on why that solution, that opportunity is the best for them, which is exactly what Mark is doing there. And the real estate analogy is amazing because everyone knows real estate. It's on Netflix, it's on TV shows, but never saw a Netflix show about insurance agents. Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
So gotta
Yeah,
sell it on them.
and as your point, you're selling yourself. If you've positioned yourself correctly now, okay, like
Yeah.
which I don't really have a problem with this normally, but what happens is I'm like, well, why should I go with your company? I'm like, that's a question for you, not for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll tell you, because I will promise you, I don't care if you go with FES or PHP or, if you find leadership that you can follow and get along with, you'll be successful.
Mm.
So the question for you on this call is not which one should I go with, but, can you get along with me? Am I the right personality that would help you, and to accomplish your dreams and goals? And if you look at me and you say no, then you and I need to part ways right now. And it's nothing against you. It's nothing against me, because sometimes people just don't click. And
Mm-hmm.
so, it's got to be a good fit. So let me ask you, okay, Joey, do you feel like that I'm the kind of guy that you can work with, or am I too abrasive? Or, I mean, and it's okay. It's okay. Okay. You
Mm-hmm.
tell me, am I the kind of guy that you could work with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All
No,
right.
that's
Well,
good.
then, all right. So then let me send you over a link and we're going to get you started right now. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's key. So I hope you guys are taking notes on that because that's really good. Thank you, Mark, for sharing this. And I wanna ask you another question here. Into what do you think that you might do differently, for example, than other agents working the same leads, right? Because there's a lot of people that are really stuck on the ad, like, oh, Uber and Lyft drivers. I want to speak to teachers. I want to speak to real estate agents. I want to speak to that, speak to this. But you just said, hey, it doesn't matter, right? As long as they showed interest, hey, I have enough interest to click on the ad, share my information, and answer the phone, then they're looking for something, right? So is there something that you think that you might be doing different than others that could be one of the main keys of your role right now in your momentum that you have? going on your third month?
I think it's a positioning. Okay, is I and even when I was working with you guys, I mean, uh, yeah, you guys are from Canada. I don't know how many people are here from Canada. You can raise your hand. Okay, Pavel used to say, well, people in Canada are kinder and gentler, and I'm like, I'm just like straightforward. Either you like me, or you don't. I don't really care. Move on to the next. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do care for people, and I think it comes across. Okay. So you got to care for people. So it's about positioning yourself, and you can't sell the insurance IMO. Okay. You can't. Okay. If you start trying to sell Primerica, WFG, FES, okay, you've missed the mark. Okay,
Yeah.
you've got to let people get into their dreams and why they would do this. Okay, and stay away from. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I had somebody on that asked me, Mark, which company you with? Who cares? Okay, who cares? And
Mhm.
so that's the message I've got for you. Yeah, probably folks in here, but oh well, everybody's with the WFG. That is not a good excuse.
Mhm.
Okay, who cares? Sell the opportunity, sell the dream, and sell yourself and position yourself. But then you got to show up for these folks too. You've got to
Yeah.
lead, and so you can't just bring them on and then hope things are going to work out for them. You've also got to take some initiative and you've got to lead. Okay, so make sure, and that's probably the biggest challenge for me right now is because I was just getting back in it, is getting my systems all set up. But because a lot of you guys have a lot of experience, you've been doing it for years, and you have your own little system, and I've
Yeah.
had to kind of start from scratch and say, okay, I've got to do this with this. But I focus in on KPIs, okay, and I give away a lot of information for when people are on. They get my PowerPoints, they get everything that I do if they come on.
Mhm.
Okay, but I don't give them anything until they've signed up. I'm like, yeah, no, you don't get that. Okay,
Well,
unless
that's
you're
good.
unless you've come on. Okay.
Yeah, that's powerful because I know a lot of people, again, they're focusing on their IMO as their unique seller proposition. They spend like 10 minutes just explaining, oh, we've done this, we've been there for this amount of years. But like in reality, again, they don't care because what's in it for them, right? Like you, when you're going to buy something, you don't really, you just want to know what's in it for you, right? If you want to look for an opportunity to make money online or make money remotely, build a business, then you want to know what's in it for you, right? How quick can you do it? So that's why the real estate, for example, analogy, well, it's like, well, instead of waiting 3 years to become a broker and own your, you can do it a couple of months, right? Just like I did. So using your example of success to your client. So that's very good. And if you would have to say like one, let's say one valuable lesson that you've learned over those last 60 days, for example, that you would like maybe to tell yourself if you were to restart this, knowing nothing, knowing what you know now, when you first got started, January 18, the ads went live. Is there a lesson that you've learned over the last 2 months that you would like to tell your 2 month old self to be careful with that or anything like that to have success faster?
Well, the biggest thing is I should have started earlier. Okay, that's probably the biggest thing
Yep.
because I've been working and building other people's business because you mentioned Cole Gordon. I worked with you guys. I was
Yep.
doing some high ticket sales I was helping other people build their business. And I've been that entrepreneurial type and I've tried to build some of my own businesses, but where I've always slipped up is I spent hours and hours and hours building the mousetrap, but I never got people to come into the trap. Okay.
Mhm.
And you've got to be able to bring people in. You got to put some cheese in there. And so that's what's changed right now. And that's not what I am strong with. And so you've got to outsource that. But if you think that it's just going to magically happen or you're going to be able to just go in and yeah, and wing it, okay, on your own. If unless you've got the skill set to do that, I think that it's kind of foolish. Is it expensive to get started?
Mhm.
Uh, that's a relative term. Okay,
Mhm.
is if you can make $100,000 a year and spend $10,000 a year, is that expensive? No, that's just good business sense. Okay,
Mhm.
and so I mean, really, if you can, if you know, you look at so you look at my guy. Okay, my upline is making $1.5 million a year. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in that situation? Okay, and so I wish I'd have started earlier, because yeah, I think that I have the skill set that I could have done this much earlier. I didn't know it existed. Okay, but I would have a whole lot better retirement plan for myself and my family already if I had started this a few years ago.
That's very good. That's very good. That's exactly what's Adrian Robinson. I'm sure you've heard of her in the group. She always says that wish I started early, and she's been at it for 20 years, I think, as well. So she got a lot of
Mhm.
experience there. So that's very good. Now I would want to end this. I want to have some time for some Q&A if you guys have some question as well at the end, and I might show you as well the little recording of the AI if you guys want to see that. But first, just to end this off, Mark, where are we going now? What's the plan for the next for the next quarter and for the next 6 to 12 months? Where do you see that going, using that system to grow your business?
Well, I mean, I still want 5 or 6 new, folks that come on every single month. But more than anything else, where my mindset is right now is I'm wanting to focus in on my team members that are coming on, and I want to get them to make $5,000 or $6,000 a month. So if I can take 25, and I don't know what the magic number is right now in my head, I'm telling my wife, let's take 25 people and get them to $5,000 a month. Okay, if I could do that, I don't need to worry about our income. I just need to help these people find their dreams. If I really focus in on that over the next few months and helping these people find their dreams, our dreams will be there. And it's just a different, and hopefully everybody else kind of thinks that way too. The money will come because it's just a numbers game. Focus on serving other people. Okay, and so that's really what you need to do, in life, is serve, 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 serve. Serve other people. Don't serve yourself first. Serve
Yeah,
other people and help them to get what they want, and then yours will come.
that's so powerful. That's very good. It's awesome, Mark. Thank you so much for that. Let's jump into the Q&A. I got some good questions for you in the chat. So let's start with Sarah. So you're asking how much or when you put people from these leads in your team meetings versus keep them on the Fondaco training side. There is much value in both, and not sure how we want to do that. So does that make sense, Mark? Or Sarah, if you want to elaborate.
Or you're saying putting people in the ABI versus the ABA? Is that what she's asking?
No, so it may just be easier to say it out loud. I'm like
Okay.
one
Please do.
finger typing with the baby sleeping on my
Okay.
lap. So we're brand new. We're SMDs, but wanting to go faster. And our ads haven't even started yet. We're that brand new. And
Okay.
so I'm kind of figuring out, like, I'm going through all the modules, and I'm trying to figure out, like, at what point do I bring them on to our existing team meetings that are, we do a ton of different stuff, versus just kind of keeping them, the leads that are coming from this, on the, tell me what the training is called again. It's not the accelerator, it's the other one.
The incubator.
The incubator. Like, are
Yeah.
you just taking your new people and putting them in the incubator, or your other side, or a mix of both?
Okay, Joey, you're not going to like my answer on this, okay? But I haven't
All
put
good.
anybody in the incubator right now. And I know you guys are growing like crazy in the incubator, but no, I mean, what I do, I mean, I get them engaged in my team, okay? That's what I'm wanting to do. And so, when they come in, I line it up. I tell them exactly. I mean, I give them a check. I actually give them a checklist, okay? And I send it over. And I'm like, here's what we got to do. Okay, is the next thing is you gotta get the licensing course. You gotta get your date scheduled. You're going to work with Trisha. She's going to help you to do that. In the next 48 to 72 hours, we need to do an F&A. You need to get your spouse to sit down, and we need to get that information. You don't have to buy anything, but you do need to sit down with this, because this is the system. Okay, and we're going to do that, and then we'll schedule something a few days after that. So and as soon as you get your, so Trish just helps him and walks through. She reports back to me every day. Mark, this is when the dates are. And then what I will do is I'll tell them, okay, I'm going to leave you alone while you're getting your license. Other than I might follow up with you with a text or a phone call, every now and then. And so you get that F&A in there. And then as soon as you get them licensed, I mean, then it's off to the races with them, right? But I haven't been just like sending them somewhere else right now, because you know when you've had that conversation whether or not they have the income to actually, if you're asking me, could you put them over into Fondaco right away? If they don't have the income to do that right now, yeah, I just want them to just stay under my tutelage right now.
Mhm.
Okay. And then if they did have the income to do it, then I would say that would be a good time maybe to move them over there. So, but I'm kind of anal because I want control of everything that these guys are doing right now, and I want them to come from me for questions and answers right now, and I want them to get involved in the team meetings that are already that my upline's already got, because most of these folks don't want to be meeting to death. All right. And so there's already, with my team, there's a Monday night, there's a Tuesday night, and there's a Saturday night meeting. I only go Tuesdays and Saturdays. Okay. And I never show up at their office. And they've asked me, but Mark, do you want to come to the office? I'm like, nope, I'm 100% remote. And so when people come into my world and my ecosystem, but I don't want to be to meetings, I'm like, don't show up for those meetings right now. You and I can have some phone calls, but as soon as you actually start building a team, you're going to have to start showing up, because you need to actually set an example. Okay. But, and then pick Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so you can maybe do too much. And so do I see a huge value of what Joey and Pavel have for those folks with what they're doing with the ABI? Absolutely. I've not taken full advantage of that right now. Did I
So
answer your
following
question?
up on that, sure, yeah, and thank you, by the way, for all of this. So as you get them going, are you just doing the regular old start calling your warm market,
Yep.
top 25, all that?
Yep. I've got
Getting
my
them
top
going.
25 list, and I go through that with them. Absolutely. That's what you do, and just do the regular way. And then if they've got the ability to, like I said, to get into a system, you want to help them to do that too.
Heck yeah,
But
thank you so much.
I've got templates that I've created even when I do my own, because I still do some of my own marketing outside of this as well. So I may go in even on LinkedIn, okay, and I pick off 10 or 12 people a day, and I friend them. I just don't want to break the algorithms, okay, with those. And I have like a little message that I'll send, like, hey, and you wouldn't know anybody that's looking to maybe supplement their income right now, would you? That because I find a lot of really good candidates to work with me in my business from LinkedIn friends. And if you know somebody, I would really be grateful for you, to send them my information. And I do that because most of the time they come back and go, well, I'm looking. I'm like, oh, well, sweet. Well, then, I might have something that would really work for you. And I try to go down that line as well. So I constantly am doing that, and you can teach your team some of those types of things too. And I know that, that like Pavel's done some LinkedIn training himself that's out there to help these people, but I try to harness some of that on myself as well. So I'm probably missing the mark a little bit on that, Joey. You and Pavel can spank me later after we get off this call.
So we're improving it. If you're not there, it means there's something off. So we're improving it. There's a lot of things coming for that as well, for these new people just coming in at basically for free for them. Because at the end of the day, we just want to create more case studies and more people that has money to come into a system like this, which will truly help them. So, but yeah, Sarah, same process for your licenses. Go check out the licensing blueprint. Sylvain, just repeat the process for that, but same process. And yeah, just do that. So we got 2 more questions, 3 minutes. So that will be maybe rapid fire. But Ivan, good question. I think that some other people might have. So he's saying that he has some teacher ads, and 99% of them come with the idea that they can teach online, right? Because in the ad, it's like, hey, educate people with their finances, right? So it might be something in the objection handling there. So when they see it's financial industry, they're like, thank you. And also all of them are retired. So do you have any tips, or how would you handle that?
Well, I work 100% online, so
Yeah.
that's cool. I tell them, I mean, I actually have only one lady so far that showed up. It's probably not wanting to work online, and she's going to be a real challenge for me. Okay. And because I tell people, look, I do this online, and if you're going to follow me, just for you guys for knowledge, I don't really care what state they come in. Okay, so I'm marketing in like 25 states. I don't care, and so so I've had to already go get licensed in Ohio and Arizona and Missouri where folks are coming in, and so I mean not a license but appointed in those states because I'm bringing in people from those different states. But I would just tell them, absolutely, that's exactly what I do too. Is I educate people online, and that's why I love teachers. You're a perfect candidate for what we do because I'm going to be able to teach and show you exactly how I also teach online too. And so you don't have to do it at home. You could actually do it while you're in Aruba or wherever you want to go, as long as you have a good internet connection. Do you have a laptop? Do you have a cell phone? And do you have internet? Those are the three things. If you've got those things, I can teach you how to do this.
Does that make sense, Ivan? Not sure. Go ahead. Ask your follow-up
No,
question. You gotta unmute yourself and ask your follow-up question on that. I want to make sure you're clear on this. I think you're muted.
I don't have it set. Or actually, you're the host. Can you?
Yeah,
So
I asked.
The recording has stopped.
Can you unmute yourself? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, my internet went down, but yes. So we got them on the appointment, right? And they were thinking they wanna do teaching. They're retired and they wanna teach whatever classes kids whatever they did for years. And when they see financial industry, they like, no, that's not why I wanted. So that was last 10 appointments, the same thing, and they are old. They are like 68, 70, which I'm young, I'm 35. I don't wanna, I need my team to be on fire, but they are like, it's not their time. They don't wanna build whatever they wanna build, and they just need another job to, to teach someone whatever they did for years.
Well, I mean, then it's not a fit. It's really that simple. If somebody says, I just want to teach what I've been teaching for years and years, I'm like, well, you're going to, I'd tell them, look, dude, you got to learn some new stuff. Sorry. Okay. Because that's not the system. So if you're going to come in and it's got to be a fit for me. It's got to be a fit for you. And if you're telling me you want to come in on my team and do your own thing, it ain't going to work. Okay. So, have a great life. I hope you have a great retirement. Do you know anybody else that this might be a good fit for? You just don't beat yourself up on some of those people. Let them go. Okay. Have a mentality that this is, there's plenty more to come. Okay. And sometimes, and I've heard this on a lot of calls, people want to try to figure out how to sell that one person. Let them go, for God's sakes. Go to the next one. Okay. So they have to follow your system. You position yourself. You follow my system. You teach what I'm going to train you to teach. You want to do your own thing, go find another gig.
And just to follow up on this side, because if you're saying that 99% of people, so it must be a lot, like pretty much all your leads that they come up with that objection. So that means that you're only one objection handling away from basically converting 99% of those leads into appointments, right? So I think for you, it's really to play around that teaching online. If they're never mind, I just want to teach online, right? Right. Okay. Well, they've try to dig deeper into that and sell your the opportunity, maybe on a sidetrack a bit like Mark said, right, with the real estate industry. So try to find a way to sell the opportunity. So if they want to teach online, yes, you're teaching online. So instead of teaching kids, you're going to teach grown adults, right, on how to save their money and make and because that's what it is. That's what it is at the end of the day, and work online. So do you want to work remote? Do you want to make more money than you're currently doing right now? Yes. Well, perfect. Well, that might be for you. And if it's not for you, if you do that and it's not for them, then like Mark said, maybe it's not. Maybe just let him go.
Yeah, ask them why. Why do you want to teach online?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want to make some more money. Why do you want to make more money? You have to dig into their whys. Okay. So and so that's really the key. And so you got to get them back into why they would do this with you. Because if they were already determined that they want their own business model, you're not there to be a business coach to help them build their own model. Okay. Go figure that out and go pay some guru, $15,000, $20,000 to figure out how to build your own business model. You want to work with me, you follow my system. Okay. And it's really that simple.
Yeah, that's good. I hope that helped.
Thank you, guys.
I know time's already up. I know we've got one more question. Do you have 2 more minutes to answer that, Mark?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good.
All right, got one more question. That's from Ram. So he said I cannot do voice or video today. I think he's doing something else. But this question is, what do you say to people who are somewhat interested after the meeting, but they don't want to sell to their warm market? So that's probably the main objection. Like, I don't want to sell to my warm market or friends and all that stuff. And also, they don't want to spend money for leads or marketing as they're short on money. So they don't know if this is a long-term proposition for them. How do you recruit them, and what would you tell them to so that they can trust the process and join?
Well, what I do with folks is something like that. I'll do something like, "Hey, can you high five me?" "Oh, give me a high five, man. I'm right with you." I'm in the same space that you are. Okay, I didn't want to go after. I talked about that earlier in the call. I didn't want to. My aunts and uncles and stuff. They're some of them are living or some of them are dead. So I don't have a warm market. Okay, so I have to go in and create that, and that's what you're going to learn from me. Okay, working with me is actually how to to be able to do that. And so hey, look, what we need to do is we need to get on that 45-minute call and let's see, you're going to learn exactly what you're going to do. And you just need to sell to get to that call. And that's what you're selling in the first call, is to get to the second call. And then at that point in time, if you've got them on that second call, then you need to get a credit card. And I will make that point right here too, because I don't know how much more time we'll have. Is when you get them on that call, it's so important, is when you're getting to the end of that, is you need to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to send you a link over, and I want you to follow with me exactly what you need to do for next steps." All right, I just sent a link to you, okay, through the Zoom right here. I want you to find it. All right, do you see that? Okay, so this is the link on how you actually get started with us. You'll see the first thing it asks, are you in the United States or Canada? Answer that question. Did you do that? Did you answer it? Okay, great. So you're in the United States. All right, the next one says, what state are you in? Put that in. Okay, and you just tell, okay, did you put in you're not licensed right now? Did you put in that you're not security licensed? Put that in. All right, the next question is going to ask you your social. I don't see your social. You got it on your screen, not on mine, but put it in. Follow it, and you just tell them to go through. And did you do that? Okay, cool. Fill out the rest of the information on that sheet there, because now they're filling it down. Because what I'm trying to get now, once they're and putting it in, I'm like, all right, the next thing it's going to ask you for is, are you going to put American Express, Visa, or MasterCard? Which one are you going to use, Joey? Are you going to use Visa or MasterCard? Okay. And I'm like, oh, Visa. Okay, all right, great. All right, so do you have that on you right now? Let's go ahead and stick that in, and let's go ahead and get you started today. Now, while you're doing this, I'm going to be working right now, and I've got to send a message over to my licensing coordinator and make that introduction. So you finish filling it out. As soon as you're finished, you let me know, and I'm going to push send. Okay? Because you're now a part of the family. You're part of the team. All right? Did you do it? Did you finish? Okay, you got it. Okay, let me look up. You're in. I see. Okay, cool. Welcome. All right, I'm going to send a text right now. Boom, 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 boom. Do you see it? Look at your phone right now. You see I just introduced you to Trish? It's so important now that you actually get in touch with her. Okay, and she's going to send you a message probably tomorrow, and you guys are going to do a Zoom call, but we need to get that licensing test exam scheduled now. But you need to go ahead and close the deal out. And the way you do it is you got to get them to pull out their credit card. Okay, you can't wait for them. And it's like, oh, think about it. Pull out your credit card. Let's get her done. Okay, you've got to get the money.
That's good. I think Ram was saying my question was just before they start, like after agreeing that they like the business on the first call. If their objection is, hey, like I like what I'm seeing right now, but like I don't want to sell to my warm market, and I don't want to spend leads on marketing. So I think that's where maybe he's stuck. So what you're saying is just,
well, you find out where they're at, because everybody might have a niche. Okay, so like the guy that's actually coming on right now, he actually was working with Nationwide. Okay, and as like a CSM with them, and so he's actually got his license, and I'm like, dude, so he told me the same thing. I don't want to do my warm market, and I'm like, let's talk about who's in your sphere. Because a lot of folks, when you get down and refer business to me, might be accountants, might be attorneys. Do you know any accountants? Okay, that you might have. Let me tell you how that works. And I'll say, so like if you went into an accountant and let's say they got 2,000 clients, here's what I would say to them, Joey. I'd say, hey, Mr. Accountant, I'd like to help you put an additional business section inside of your business if you don't have it, and let you have 50% of the income. Okay. And so it may increase your income by, I don't know, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, but I'll do most of the work. Would you be interested in knowing how to add an additional business in your business and make an extra, $200,000-$300,000 a year? How do you do that? Well, look, you just need to go get a license. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to do the work together. And like in his case, he said, Mark, I know 3 accountants, and you know how many coffees and bagels that I bought them because I need their free advice all the time. And I'm like, well, you just need to change the conversation just a tiny bit. And now, if one of those 3, came into your ecosystem now and they said, hey man, shoot, absolutely, I want an extra $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. Then you've got a bird's nest on the ground. Okay. Because you might make, and I use an example, Joe, you guys had through one of your programs, a guy that you were talking about that ended up getting a dentist on board, and he made $200,000 commission. And if you get into, professionals like CPAs and attorneys like that, you will run into some of those larger accounts. And so just find their niche, find out what they've got, and help them to move in that direction. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's also, I think, to have that pitch deck, which I know that you have yours, but if you have that pitch deck where you're showing them how to make money and what's in it for them and all that stuff, right? Which we provide one in the training. So if you don't have it, go check it. I know, Mark, you have yours. If you're not following that sequence and showing them what's in it for them, then whether it's free or not, they're just not going to take it, right? So if money is involved, or how to make that, or how what's going to happen, like, you got to show them logically and clearly what it is, and that's what the pitch deck offers them. So having a clear process to do that. If you follow this, you shouldn't be hit. I imagine you're not getting that type of objection a lot, or are you?
No, and I'm looking at somebody, well, you're talking to the teachers, and you just say, well, you know any other teachers or any other healthcare workers that are tired by now? You could get in a Facebook group, for God's sakes, okay, and start building some friendships inside of some of the groups of other tired teachers or other, and you're going to find other people that are, they're just like you. They're tired. They're burnt out. And so, and I'll actually talk to you about how to do that too. As you become part of my team, I'm going to work with you on that. You're not going to get free advice from me, okay, if you don't come in and you're actually a part of the team. But if I'm going to commit an amount of time to work with you and hold your hand to make sure you start having some success. Do you want that? All right, let's get you started.
Yeah. It's objection prevention before they get there, right? So and if they don't want it, it's all good. So yeah, all right. Well, let's cut it off here, because I know we're already 11 minutes over. Thank you, Mark, for taking that time. I know that you're a busy guy, especially right now with all those recruits. So go ahead and go take care of them. And thank you so much for everyone also coming up. And just continue sharing your win, continue sharing your success, Mark. I think that motivates a lot of other people, and hopefully other people can join and be inspired by that and start using 1 or 2 nuggets that you shared today. So again, thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
Over.
Thank you, Mark, for your time.
Everyone, have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.